All right, welcome back to PewTube. Kevin Inoue here from Fight Designer LLC, and in my last video I shared this project of mine, which was a 3D printed shell ejecting housing for an AAP-01 airsoft gas blowback pistol. Now, one of the things that's exciting to me about this is not only is it able to do shell ejection like the electric AK9 that I got one of before they stopped importing them, or some of these, the Nerfs like the AA12 or the Beretta, but because it's based on a gas blowback pistol, it means that there is actually air coming out the front. So, in theory, if I take off the 3D printed flash hider, I can put on the suppressor on this, because it is 14mm counterclockwise threaded, and use some of these smoke and flash fake suppressor type muzzle attachments, so that in theory I could have shell ejection and muzzle flash from a completely inert, safe prop, which is pretty exciting. But we'll see if this works. So I've got now one of these on here. And again, these are triggered by a motion sensor, which is designed to be triggered by the BB going through the end. Now for film and television, we don't want actual projectiles. So I've got a little strip of ribbon or something in there, which will be moved by the gas when it's fired, because the gas system is actually completely independent from the shell ejection system. So I'm going to test this first without the magazine with the shells. But it does mean that even if you just wiggle it around, sometimes that'll set it off. So that makes it a little less ideal for some live theater, especially where you can't just like wait for the shot where you need it and then turn it on. But let's see if this works first. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So yes, that does work. And now it should also, I'll have to chase these shell casings down now. Oh, my garage is such a mess. I don't have to go hunt them down, but so be it. So set a box up there to catch some of them. Let's get some shell casings and the flash, see if I can get all of that on camera in this small space. Oh, got a jam. Clear that out. There we go. Yeah. And I can tell the gas is getting a little bit low because of the sound, but yes, proof of concept. We can do shell ejection and muzzle flash from this 3D printed housing on an AAP-01 gas blowback pistol with a housing that makes it look like a, oh shit, and that's the issue with it being 3D printed. The weight of this metal is a bit much. So the good news is, because it's 3D printed, I can print replacement parts. So I can replace that, and I could probably put a liner of an airsoft inner barrel inside that to beef it up, which I'll probably need to do if I wanted to actually use this for a gig. So let me turn this off. There we go. And yeah, I just had a little bit of, actually the bag that it came in, I just cut that into a strip. This was what I was using as the motion detector. So I will need to reprint this bit of the muzzle, threaded muzzle, and then I think what I will need to do, and the challenge is to keep the threading neatly, I printed it vertically, but that means that the layers, and when you 3D print it, it basically has a grain, so it's kind of like the wood grain is in this direction, which also means it's going to be easiest to break in that direction. It would be stronger if I built it horizontally, but then I would have to put supports in, and then that means the threads are not as clean and it's less likely to be able to thread neatly. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to reprint this bit. Get this off. But again, this was one of the reasons I was excited about this model is, unlike the electric shell ejecting models and things, because it's all STL files that I printed in the first place, I can reprint now new ones and replace just the parts I need. And here's the other end of that barrel, so I need to get that out. But I suspect what I'll need to do is just get a little bit of like hollow metal pipe, kind of like an airsoft inner barrel, but whatever is closest to the diameter of this, so that I can line that and make it nice and strong. so that I can keep playing with this potential feature of shell ejection along with muzzle flash. So there we go. Not a 100% successful test, not a surprise necessarily, and nothing I can't fix. But, you know, this is how it goes. You experiment, you try things, figure out what works and what doesn't, fix the things that don't, and you move on. Hey, so I'm back. I've got placement part printed, which is good, just in time since my 3D printer died again. I have to get a new hot end. This is an old... it was probably old when I got it. It was secondhand eBay CR10 mini 3D printer. It's antique by today's standards, I'm sure. But I just don't have the money to buy a new one. So, you know, doing what I can. But for now, I have the parts to try this again. And I also got some of this just aluminum tubing. It's a 6mm interior diameter, 8mm exterior diameter. So it's basically the same as a inner barrel on a airsoft. So if I take a little airsoft BB, that's a 6mm BB, and it just fits inside. Right, and it can go through just barely. It's tight fit. So yes, it is the right size. And again, I don't really need to worry about firing BBs for what I do, but I do for this one want the gas to still be able to come through, because I want to be able to trigger that suppressor. But as you saw, I tested it earlier. 3D printed broke, so I had to get a new barrel printed, which I did. I went ahead and did an angled foregrip on this too. I haven't bolted on yet. Now this pipe, the interior diameter of the hole is a little bit bigger than the 8mm of this pipe. If I wanted it to be as strong as possible, I would just epoxy it in. But I also don't want it to be permanent, because again, part of the beauty of a 3D printed prop that is almost entirely 3D printed is that if something breaks, like happened before with that barrel, I can just reprint that part again. And if I've epoxied parts to it, now I'd have to replace a much larger section, including this bit of pipe that I just cut down that you really saw. So what I'm doing is I'm just building up this exterior diameter a little bit with some electrical tape so that it'll be a tighter fit, and I can just push it in there and let it support that print from the inside so that I can still get that suppressor on there. So while I'm fidgeting with this, also part of the delay here, I was up in Seattle last weekend doing a unarmed skills proficiency renewal test, like doing as in teaching. Those have to be run by a certified teacher and adjudicated by a fight master. So Fight Master Jeff who's my old teacher up there, was adjudicating. They've been cycling through doing renewals, and so that was a great opportunity. It's always nice to get back up to Seattle. I've got good friends and good memories up there, so anytime I can get an excuse to go back, I will. All right, so that seems like a decent fit. And if we do see some, it'll just be a nice metallic look there, and it should allow me to still utilize either the 3D printed flash hider. That's right, counterclockwise. Sometimes righty is not tighty and lefty is not loosey. So I can still use it with that, and I cut it off over here so we don't see the pipe sticking out there. But it also can still, I didn't put too much so it won't stick too far into one of these suppressors, so that if I want to do a fake muzzle flash, hopefully that'll all hold because it's got aluminum tubing. Let's see, you can find out the exact length because here's what I cut versus what I've got. So it goes to about there. So yeah, reinforced from here to here, which is where it's narrowest. So that ought to do the trick. Let's see, I've got this charging, don't I? Okay, here we go. Got the part disconnected because these suppressors, you have to take them apart, either to charge them or to turn them on or off also. So yes, in theory, this should be able to both still fire BBs, although it's possible might jam. Again, I'm not too worried about that. Or set off the gas suppressor. Forgot that this part came off when I was charging it. So we still need to get that little streamer thing down in there. That's the setting we want for stage and screen. Well, mostly screen. This would be a hard one to really, that's backwards. This would be a hard one to really count on stage, just in terms of not having it flash when you don't want it to, just waving it around. Again, since you can't turn it on just before the take and turn it off as soon as you're done, that makes these a little harder to get away with in live theater, unless it's a very specific situation where someone like runs on, fires some shots, and runs back off. But let's see now if this works. Oh, we're getting smoke. So I will say one problem with this setup, we've got a barrel that screws in counterclockwise, a suppressor that screws on counterclockwise, and then a suppressor housing that screws on clockwise. So it's kind of hard at any point in here to tighten one thing without loosening another. But while I got this off, I guess I might as well show. So this is the you can see the aluminum barrel now going through this section of barrel, and this is the part that broke that other time, just where the threading ends, which, you know, again, it's just PLA plastic, so it's not the world's strongest substance. Not entirely surprised. All right, this one's counterclockwise. Yeah, I can go back and forth all the time. Smoke fluid's getting a little low on this one, but let's give it a shot again and see if we can get the right effect. Don't appear to be setting this off. I'll try slitting this into like a forked tongue, see if that does a better job of making it more likely to set off the effect. Might make it a little more sensitive, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. And, you know, it's just what you gotta do. You gotta dial these things in bit by bit until you find the happy medium. So I am getting the smoke, but I'm not getting the flash, which is weird. But this is a issue with the suppressor, not necessarily with the prop. So, you know, I just need to figure out messing with these some more. There we go. Wonder if it's placement of the streamer thingy. I wonder maybe if I tape it to the muzzle instead of to the suppressor. Let's see if that gives it a better ability to do what it needs to do. So let's try that now. So now I've taped it straight onto the end of this. Let's see if it likes that better. Seems to. It's setting it off already. All right. Let's try that. And now it goes when I'm not doing anything. It's too long now. It's sticking out. So let me trim this down and see if that helps. So, working some, but very picky. So I guess what I need to do is just spend more time trying to figure out how to dial this in to be just the right level of sensitivity. Ooh, that's getting kind of gunked up too. It probably needs cleaned. Figure out The bore brush, as it were, sitting down there. I wonder if that's part of the issue, is it's getting a little bit less clear, and since it's a optics-based system, I wonder if just getting gunked up makes it harder with that oil. I don't know. But anyway, you know, again, another one of those things that in theory works, but is it reliable and consistent enough that I would want to bank on this on set during a shoot? The answer is not yet. I still think it's possible, but let's see, where's the actual sensor? Ah, that sensor's pretty close. So what I may need to do is just shorten this little bit of aluminum I've got here, or shove it further in. That might be it. It might just be sticking out enough that the sensor's right here, and so we're missing that motion. All right, so now I've got that sticking in a little bit more and basically flush with where the suppressor attaches. So that should give me a little better of a window for getting the motion detection going. We'll see if this still fits in here, or if I need to cut off some of it. Yep, still fits. Okay. So you're also getting a little bit of a window in my process here. You know, you experiment, you try things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Take a day, think about it, figure out what else might solve it. And yeah, you know, you go through some materials, you go through some green gas. Definitely go through some time. But that's the cost of trying anything new. Is gonna have to put up with some of that trial and error. And hopefully, eventually you get something that works. And then other people can come along and copy you and not have to go through all that. You're welcome. There we go. Yeah, now it's consistent. All right, cool. That's all we needed. So now, if we get a little less light, let's say we're trying to night shoot. We got like just a little low light. All right, there we go. And what the heck, let's go ahead and shoot some shell casings too while we're at it. Let's see if I can catch them on there maybe. Nope. We had a jam. Yeah, out of shell casings. So there we go, trial and error process. But eventually I think we're getting at something that can work. Righty tight. Which one's counterclockwise? Which one's clockwise? Woo, here we go. All right. So, you know, we'll see. I don't know if or when I'll play with this again or what projects I might get to use it for, but for now, I'm going to call that at least a mostly successful trial. So, till next time, Kevin Inoue, Fight Designer LLC. Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and, you know, keep trying to figure out those creative solutions to the problems that come up. And if you get any good ones, share them with me. I'll share them with everybody else. All right. Till next time.